Hello, my name is Ciara Anderson, and I am a freshman in my second semester at the University of Utah. I am majoring in family, community, and human development with an emphasis in child life. I am working towards becoming a child life specialist, and I would love to work at Primary Children's Hospital. The title of my project is COVID-19 and College Learning. This semester, I have been reading a novel titled The Plague by Albert Camus. It is about a fictional plague, yet it has some information that is relevant to the COVID-19 pandemic we are in today. One quote from the book that stuck out to me is, "Once plague had shut the gates of the town, they had settled down to a life of separation, debarred from the living warmth that gives forgetfulness of all." I chose to include this quote because I see a lot of similarities from the fictional plague and the current pandemic. Social life as we knew it was over. Everyone was separated from each other. Being able to get together with friends was a luxury we had never thought would be taken away from us. When we did get together, there were strict rules we had to follow. Group sizes were limited, and we had to wear a mask and be 6 feet away from everyone. It was lonely and cold. Most everyone longed for life to return to what it was prior to COVID-19. This semester, I have been doing a lot of research online and have interviewed a college student to see what his experiences were like. After my research, I have come up with a thesis statement that I feel best represents my findings. My thesis statement is as follows. The COVID-19 pandemic has negatively affected the learning of college students by raising anxiety, stress, and depression levels, changing the way lectures are given, and adding numerous distractions for students. To begin, I want to take a look at what the University of Utah is currently like. I went out to campus on a Monday around noon when I thought it would be the busiest and was shocked at how empty it was. A lot of the buildings were closed. However, I was able to go into the library to the first couple of floors. While in the library, I came across many signs saying that the area ahead was closed. Some places had just signs, others had barriers as well. This specific sign was leading to where the majority of the books would be. The book stacks are closed for browsing. If you wanted or needed a book from the library, you could order it ahead online, or you can go to the library and have one of the staff members at the front desk retrieve it for you. Personally, one of my favorite parts about going to the library is looking at all the books and then getting the ones I was most interested in. This is no longer something that I am able to do. I have noticed that since public libraries and the university's libraries are basically closed, I have been reading far less than what I had prior to the pandemic. This image is in the library as well. As you can see, this room is closed. It has caution tape acting as a barrier for people so they know the area is closed to the public. There were countless rooms that are now empty and closed off for students. It is disheartening to see campus like this. It definitely is not what I imagined my college experience to be like. This space used to be filled with tables where students would study, work on group assignments, read, and spend time together. This was a place where friendships were made, where students figured out what they wanted to do with their lives. This was a space where a wide variety of things happened. Many places similar to this one have been shut down as well. It is more than just a room. It is a place of connection. Campus now is like a ghost town compared to what it was pre-COVID. For example, the tables in this photo normally would be completely full. The majority of seating areas on campus would be completely full very early on in the day. You'd be considered lucky if you got a booth or a table to do your work at. Now, close to every single table is open. The amount of seating has even been decreased, so it makes it even more surprising. Everywhere you looked, you would be able to find a quiet spot to sit down and do your schoolwork. There are signs or posters in eyesight from everywhere you are at on campus, reminding you of the standard COVID-19 procedures. Wear a mask, socially distance 6 feet apart, wash your hands, sanitize your area, etc. While going to campus to acquire these photos, I saw multiple workers going around with sanitation carts and wiping down frequently touched surfaces. Chairs and tables were wiped down frequently, as are door handles, railings, and other high contact surfaces. One fun thing to do on campus with friends when you need a break from doing your work is to go get some food, eat, and chat. This is really hard to do on campus now. The majority of the quick snack areas are closed down and sealed off. The shelves are empty at these places as well. If you are looking to eat on campus, you have to either bring your own food or order ahead from the larger food establishments that are offered. Pick it up, Eat it at a small table, and all these tables are at least 6 feet apart. The campus store does have snacks and drinks that are still available for purchase if you wanted to go get a snack with your friends. This photo was in the library where a lot of computers, desks, and chairs were. As you can see, these are no longer available for use as they are wrapped up. These tables in this room can only have a couple people at them. And as you can see, seating is extremely limited, so it makes it very hard for groups to work on projects or to just independently study. I got the chance to interview Todd Nielsen, who was a student at the University of Utah for a couple semesters prior to the pandemic. He was a student when the pandemic hit and everything got thrown online very suddenly. He is still a student now. I asked him what his favorite parts of in-person classes were. His response was how easy it was to talk with a professor. Professors seem to be more accessible to the student during in-person learning rather than having to email them and wait for a response. He also said, I love the college lifestyle. There's a lot of great places to sit and relax and hang out with some friends. Here we see a big part of college that is missing now, social interaction with peers. One thing that I personally looked forward to college for was being able to meet and make friends with new people. I still can meet people via Zoom in breakout groups, but we only talk about class, so I don't really get to know the other students very well. Todd also said that while he was on campus, it promoted learning and it is a place for study. He says when he is at home, he wants to do home things, whereas when he's at school, he wants to do school things. I asked Todd what his favorite parts of online learning was. His response was, it is flexible, there's no commute. His least favorite parts are having distractions and that it's harder to communicate with his professors. During in-person classes, you could easily go up to the professor before or after class and ask your questions. Now you have to email them and wait for a response or go to their office hours. Some professors only have office hours once or twice a week, so it can be difficult to make it work with your schedule. Some distractions Todd has are his 2-year-old nephew that he has to watch and his hobbies that are on his computer as well. He has many online friends that he talks to. He says it is hard to separate home and school when your school is having to be done online at home. Online school does allow for some flexibility. You do not need to be in a classroom for a lecture. Some lectures are video recordings that you can watch at your own leisure. Assignments can sometimes even be done ahead of time. Mental health was a large part of my research. This is a quote from Flatt from 2013. Prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, it was recognized that stress levels among undergraduates were high, end quote. The COVID-19 pandemic has greatly increased the number of students having high levels of anxiety, stress, and depression. Going on with stress levels being increased, students have enough stress that comes along with being a college student, but the pandemic has added other stressors that include but are not limited to caring for younger siblings, working to financially support the household, caring for sick family members, caution about not getting the virus, maintaining relationships, keeping friendships alive, and adjusting to remote learning. Anxiety levels have also seen a drastic increase. These stressors not only cause stress, but can be a trigger for anxiety. There can be financial anxiety, anxiety about staying healthy, anxiety about having to care for family members, and anxiety related to the college course load. Depression rates have also seen an increase. The loneliness that comes along with isolation and social distancing take away from the human need for social interaction. This loneliness is hard for everyone, but it is exceptionally hard for those who rely heavily on friends and family for emotional support. Being able to seek help for mental health issues such as these has been difficult due to the pandemic. Lederer in 2021 says, quote, in spring 2020, a total of 60% of college students who sought mental health services found them more difficult to access due to COVID-19, end quote. Getting help for mental health is just as important as getting help for an injury to the body. In order to do the best you can with school, you have to be in a good mindset and have a handle on the mental health and illnesses you may have. If you do get the opportunity to go to a face-to-face class, there currently are smaller class sizes. This is due to having to socially distance the desks and chairs. Since there are smaller class sizes, you can get more one-on-one time with the professor. This can lead to better enjoyment of the subject, better understanding, better communication, and better grades. Being in a classroom setting also allows for dedicated time and place for schoolwork. Classes on campus require you to have a mask on throughout the entire class. There are sanitation wipes that are available for you to wipe down your desk. There are also many hand sanitizer dispensers available for your use. Learning while you are at home allows for quite the array of distractions. Since we're at home, you have your family members that can distract you. Younger siblings may need help with their own school, making meals, setting up their computers for school, dealing with technical issues, etc. A quote from Letterer 2021 says, concurrent with their schoolwork, many students now have expanded caregiving roles, such as taking care of children or siblings due to school closures, elder care responsibilities, or tending to sick family members. Other students may deal with the loss of loved ones. Some students have or will become seriously ill themselves, end quote. There are many things that can distract college students that arises from having to learn at home. Quote, depending on their circumstances, students juggled remote learning, childcare, employment, and caring for aging family members. Students and family members lost paid employment and were sometimes financially pressured into working under conditions that they felt unsafe, end quote. This is from Day in 2021. Students also work. Due to the pandemic, they may need to work more to compensate for other family members losing their jobs, getting a pay cut, etc. Sometimes the work environment is unsafe, and this can be another distraction and stressor that they are having to deal with. Another issue with online school is not having a dedicated study space. This makes it extremely difficult to focus solely on school and to be dedicated enough to actually do the assignments that you have. In addition, you don't really get much social interaction. On Zoom, the majority of the people will have their cameras and microphones turned off, and you also do not get to talk to your peers. Sure, you can discuss things in breakout rooms, but you cannot talk about your lives. Whereas in face-to-face work, you can chit-chat with your peers. This is my works cited page. Thank you.